Question 1. How does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? My magazine is one about art. Not just the visual aspect of art, but the different parts of it. Many people know and love physical art, but my magazine, I wanted to bring up the underlying effects art can have, emotionally and psychologically. My magazine challenges and uses some conventions. It's unique, but not too far from the average art magazine. Art magazines usually are vibrant, colorful, and very expressive. My magazine is the same. I combine fancy and funky fonts and also put something eye-catching. My article in specific doesn't look like the cover or the table of contents for a reason. It represents the individuality that comes with art, plus the uniqueness of each part of it. The article itself explains the concept of art being used to meditate and relax. Then, it brings up the notion of how it can be used for children in specific. The social issues my magazine and article in specific represent is mental health, especially children's mental health. I use my brother as an example for the primary reason on how art helps children. My brother is a smart kid. He has multiple hobbies, including figure collecting and playing outside. While art is not a hobby he focuses on, he still uses it as a form of relaxation after a long day of school. And from time to time, we see him drawing different movie characters or even his own original character. This helps him not only take care of his mental health by having a cool, no pressure hobby, but also helps him explore his creative side, which can boost his self-esteem.
I researched several different articles from recent years to get a better understanding of the social issue regarding children's mental health and art, which is called art therapy. When all my research about my social issue was done and checked, I knew that my representation of mental health was respectful and that my facts were accurate and that it portrayed mental health in a positive light, as I didn't want to add to the already made stigma surrounding mental health.
Question 2. How does your magazine engage with the audience, and how would it be distributed as real media text? According to survey results, I found that most people who took my survey did participate in the form of art. Many did painting, or acting, or music. People who said yes said they participated in a certain type of art. I let them comment saying if they enjoyed it or if they didn't. This to me showed that art is very much still alive, which I believe is a reason why it would let the audiences engage with it, since my magazine is not only about art, but it's also about mental health and different parts of it. This by itself would widen my magazine's audience, making it for art fans and regular readers. Additionally, art has always been about the art and the artist rather than for money. My magazine, I believe, would find the way to its right audience, which again, is probably art fans and readers. My survey results from the beginning of this creative journey showed me that most people who took my survey do not regularly read magazines. This is not shocking, as magazines have lost their popularity since the early 2010s. The reason for this is a rise in online media. Because of this, many magazines have moved to online subscriptions or live on the 99-cent rack at grocery stores. Because of this, I've decided that if a magazine were to be distributed, it'd be distributed as an online subscription that would be delivered to people's houses. This would be so the audience can read the magazine on the comfort of their couch. This allows for the audience to remain interested in magazines and continue purchasing them over time. These are the results of the target audience survey that I previously mentioned. Most people put that they do not typically purchase magazines, which, as I stated, was likely due to the fact that most magazines are available and sold online only. This next screenshot shows what people put when I asked if they had participated in any sort of art. Most put yes. This, once again, showed me that art still has an audience. They were also able to put if or if they did not enjoy the art that they participated in. This helped me learn more about my audience and understand what people were looking for in an art magazine. Question 3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? Personally, I've always loved editing and creative work in general. However, because of this project, I can now edit better than I could before. I can use new programs like Canva, and taking pictures on something as simple as a phone is now easier for me. Previous to this project, Canva, I didn't even know what that was, and I would use lower quality and less advanced editing programs. And taking photos on the camera would always come out low quality and blurry, but now I can confidently say that Canva is one of my favorite tools to use, and taking photos on my phone is not as difficult and it's easier for them to come out better quality now. What helped me reach where I am now is the fact that I would watch multiple tutorials on how to make a realistic magazine cover, how to edit photos like real magazines do, how to use Canva and other programs, and how to take good photos on an iPhone 15. Another thing that helped me improve my skills was the fact that I didn't set such a high expectation for myself. My expectations for this project were limitless. If I did put such a high expectation on myself, I'd probably spend too much time worrying if the magazine is perfect or good enough. But because I didn't do that, I feel like I was able to take my time and improve each skill one at a time and make it all better independently. Another significant skill that I developed throughout this process was my writing, especially my nonfiction writing. In the past, I loved creative writing and nonfiction writing in general, but now I can write better nonfiction articles, and I would have never done that if it wasn't for this project. In summary, my production skills all improved because I made sure to learn from people who knew how to do this before me, and I also made sure that I didn't try so hard to make it too perfect. And again, this all helped me make my magazine and improve my skills. Question 4. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online into this project? For my camera, I used my iPhone 15 Pro camera, and I would make sure it was on the highest quality it could be on, 60 HD, and I would make sure angles were right and the photos weren't too zoomed in. And then afterwards, I would go into the standard camera editor and maybe change some things I didn't like, brightness up a little bit, desaturate it or saturate it more, etc., etc. Furthermore, I would go on Pixar to use different editing techniques that the standard camera doesn't come with, and I would use filters, but that was very rare for the photos. But then afterwards, I would use Canva to finish editing them and create the actual magazine there. Canva was my favorite tool because it was not too hard or difficult to use, and I became familiar with it pretty quickly. It also came with a bunch of different features. I love the different filters it came with. I did use those in order to improve the photos, and I would use the different fonts it came with to make the magazine itself. And I even used a photo I took from the museum and removed the background and then put it on the cover of the magazine to create this nice effect, and I thought it was eye-grabbing, and it really did improve how I thought my magazine looked. For references, I used Pinterest and Google to find different magazine covers, specifically art magazines. Art magazines typically have something on the cover that's really like eye-catching to the audience, and that's exactly what I did using Canva. For tips, I used TikTok and YouTube, and I watched videos created by people who were real magazine editors or had their own magazine, and I followed a lot of the techniques that they used in order to create their magazine. These all indeed did help me create my magazine and make it how I envisioned it. So I did use a lot of online software and hardware technologies.